Have you been curious about where investors are flocking to in Bethesda? Do you want to know which neighborhoods are delivering the best returns? We're going to break down exactly where investors are seeing the highest rental yields, the appreciation, and overall the growth in the Bethesda market. Bethesda, Maryland is one of the most attractive and one of the most sought after areas in the DC metro area. And that's not something new that I talked about on this channel. We've talked about it numerous times, but oftentimes we look at it from the perspective of a homeowner. But today we're going to look at it from the perspective of an investor. So, where exactly are investors putting their money in Bethesda? We're going to dive into the best zip codes, the best neighborhoods, property types that are catching the attention of savvy investors. And the first thing we want to talk about is the rental yield or the cap rate, because oftentimes we do have the buy and hold. And having buy and holds, investors are looking to grow their amount of doors. So rental yield and cap rates really do make a difference because this is an important factor for an investor. So which Bethesda neighborhood gives the best rental returns? Have you ever wondered how downtown Bethesda, particularly 2814, how that zip code stacks up against other neighborhoods? Well, investors love this area because of its proximity to public transportation for the professional workforce. The rental yield is much higher in that area. And so one of the major attractions for the professional workforce is NIH and other nearby government hubs. And that adds to the demand and it adds to the rental yield being extremely high. So 2814 is definitely an area that you want to keep your eye on. How about cash on cash returns? Sometimes individuals are looking for a short-term rental platform. And again, downtown Bethesda is making waves. Is there a particular neighborhood, a specific neighborhood in that area that stands out? Absolutely, Woodmont Triangle. Why does that one stand out among investors? Because they're seeing quicker returns thanks to the high demand for corporate and for short-term rentals. So with corporate and short-term rentals, obviously we're looking at something that's fully furnished. That alone is going to give you a higher yield. But again, just the accessibility to public transportation and all the amenities that it adds to the cash flow opportunities with so many professionals that need temporary housing. And so the cash on cash return here is extremely solid, especially because there are a myriad of high-rise luxury apartments in Bethesda. And those apartments can be purchased because they are condos. So for those who are looking for cash on cash return, that downtown Bethesda market is fantastic. Well, what about property appreciation? Every investor is looking for what about my appreciation over the long term. Even if I am doing short-term rentals, I'm looking at what is my appreciation over the long term. Well, here's a question for you. Did you know that Glen Echo Heights in the 2816 zip code is seeing some of the highest appreciation rates in Bethesda? And why is that? Because it has desirable school districts and beautiful surroundings, great restaurants, as well as great parks abound. So if you're thinking long term, 2816 might be where you want to be. We're going to look at what type of properties exist there in 2816 and how they are actually appreciating. But before we go there, let's talk about our occupancy and our vacancy rates. The downtown Bethesda boasts some of the highest occupancy rates for multifamily buildings. The rental demand there is extremely strong. And so as a result of that, the vacancy rates are impressively low. So why are investors flocking there? Simple, because low vacancy means steady rental income. So, what do you think? Do you agree with the findings? Is having high occupancy something that's important to you? Is that a top factor for you as an investor? Most investors that I work with and myself as an investor, it is for me. So that is definitely something to keep in mind with that downtown Bethesda market. One of the things that we talked about is the draw for professionals there in Bethesda. What then is the job market like? Because obviously our getting higher rental yields goes hand in hand with job growth. There's population and there's job growth there in Bethesda. Bethesda's job market is booming. The neighborhoods that are benefiting the most from this is downtown Bethesda and actually North Bethesda. They're seeing a rapid growth in employers. Major employers like NIH and Marriott are attracting young professionals who need housing. So if population and job growth signal a hot market, where would you invest? Are you considering proximity to commercial hubs and employment centers in your investment strategy? If you haven't been, you should be. That is something to really consider because that hub is going to actually be able to drive a very solid rental portfolio and be able to drive your rental yield going higher and higher all the time. What are these median home prices like? Let's look first at Bethesda 2816, that Glen Echo area, and also 2817. Both of those areas have higher home prices because primarily those are going to be single family homes. So those homes are over $1 million, but you're also going to have individuals who are professionals who can afford the rental rate that goes along with that, because all the time, even though an individual can afford something that is at $1 million, may not be in their best interest to purchase because they know that they're not going to be in the Washington area but for so long. And so the amount of money that they might spend on a purchase may not be advantageous to them. Those still can be extremely attractive, especially if we get into looking for off-market properties for you as an investor, and being able to find those deals, being able to do lipstick on a pig, doing some of the renovations to attract that renter who is looking to live in a neighborhood like that. They want to take advantage of school systems. They want to take advantage of that type of neighborhood and community, but they don't want to actually purchase. Even though they're higher, it still makes sense oftentimes as an investor. Investors oftentimes are targeting higher income areas like 2817. They're looking for luxury single family homes because there's a strong affordability on the part of the individuals who are renting. Really, you have to think about that as an investor. Are you looking more for luxury homes or are you looking for multifamily units? Well, both abound in Bethesda, and both of them have very strong demand, give an investor an opportunity to have a great rental portfolio. So what's up next is development. There's a lot of local development that's going on in Bethesda. There's the Purple Line that's bringing in new infrastructure to downtown Bethesda and ensuring that downtown Bethesda is even more connected. Whenever you have that additional infrastructure, do you think that it impacts property values? Absolutely. And as an investor looking for infrastructure to be constantly improved also adds to your property value. So most investors are definitely looking for that. And this is great for you as well, sellers, because if in fact you are ready to move on, maybe you've had a job change, maybe you're looking for a bigger house, maybe you're downsizing, to know that you not only have the pool of individuals who are just regular buyers for principal place of residence, but to know that you have investors. And oftentimes, even at higher price points, investors tend to have cash. So that means that your days on market are shorter. So all of these things add to the attractiveness of your home there in Bethesda, and it really puts you in a driver's seat, given that we're even in a seller's market right now. So will we see rent growth? Will we see supply and demand balance? First of all, looking at that rent growth, you'd be interested to know where the rents have consistently risen in Bethesda 3 to 5% every single year. And that's happening in 2814, it's happening in 2817. The demand is far outpacing the supply. So these areas are golden for long-term rental investors. And is that something that is important when you're thinking about consistent rent growth in your decision making? Absolutely. To know that the demand is outpacing the supply, to know that every year there can be an increase in the charge that you can have for your rental property, it definitely is a factor when you think about rent growth. When we compare 2814 versus 2816, we have luxury condos and multifamily developments in downtown Bethesda, which offer a higher rental yield and cash on cash returns. On the other hand, when we look at 2816, which is Glen Echo Heights, it focuses on single family homes with strong property appreciation and really long term growth. It just depends on which one you're looking for. Are you looking for an investment where you have high cash flow and shorter returns, or are you looking for steady appreciation in a desirable neighborhood? And both of the neighborhoods are desirable for different reasons. They're attracting a different audience. But it gives you a nice opportunity to decide as an investor what really is going to be your strategy. And as a homeowner, to know if you're looking to sell, this is the opportunity that exists for you to know how big your buyer pool actually is. Again, not just principal place of residence owners, but investors who are looking to move quickly on a property, and they are looking to often do work to a property. And sometimes they're looking for properties, especially in that luxury sector, for properties that have already been renovated, and they're willing to pay that premium for that renovation because they recognize that there is a steady need for luxury properties in the rental sector there in Bethesda, just because of the professionals that are constantly coming into the Washington metro area. If you're an investor who's eyeing Bethesda, which neighborhood, which property type actually catches your attention? Are you leaning towards high-end rental yields of downtown Bethesda or long-term appreciation in Glen Echo Heights? Whatever is your preference, Bethesda offers incredible opportunities for a smart investor. Let me know your comments below. And if you're ready to explore and you want to look for those properties that maybe others just they don't see the growth potential, or maybe it really isn't something that a principal place of residence owner would want, let me know, because those are things that are available all the time, and I can go to work in your behalf to help you to grow your rental portfolio there in Bethesda. Again, I always appreciate you listening. I appreciate you being along for the journey. And if you want to get additional information on any properties that you might see or areas, or you want me to keep an eye out on a particular area in Bethesda, zip code or neighborhood, please do let me know. Don't hesitate to reach out. Like, comment, subscribe, share with other individuals. And I appreciate your time. And as always, make it a fantastic day.